Hi Whovians, Harry here, and just a couple of things before we get into the video. Sorry for the lack of uploads recently, but I have been ill and I just haven't been able to record a YouTube video, but I am feeling a lot better now. I'm not fully over it, but I just wanted to get a few videos out for you guys, and also I just wanted to say thank you for the amount of views that the Mrs. Flood video got. I never expected it to get that many views, but before we get into this video, just wanted to say a big thank you. And this video is going to go over all the questions still unanswered from the 2023 specials. But before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe, also leave a like and comment down below, and let's get into the video. So, let's start off in chronological order with the 2023 specials, starting with the first one, the Star Beast. And there are a lot of little funny side questions in there, like what accident was Neris in and what happened to Susie Mayer to make her shorter. Just a couple of throwaway lines by supporting characters around Donna's orbit. But the first slightly bigger question then is what happened to Osgood? Now, if you don't know who Osgood is, she was the scientific advisor in UNIT in the Smith and Capaldi era. She worked with the 11th and 12th Doctor in various cases when he teamed up with UNIT. But since Shirley is now the UNIT scientific advisor, and she is the only UNIT scientific advisor that we see in the 60th anniversary specials, excluding the Doctor himself, what happened to Osgood? She was like Kate Stewart's right-hand woman, and now she is gone? Like, what happened to her? I am super excited to see Shirley. Ruth Madeley has done a really good job as scientific advisor, but it's a bit weird that we don't at least get one line into what happened to Osgood. So that's one of the first major questions. And the next question that we have to ask is, who is the boss? Now, the boss was mentioned in, of course, the Star Beast. As I said, we're going through the specials in order, and the Meep tells the 14th Doctor a two-hearted creature is rare, and that he is going to tell the boss about the Doctor. So who is this boss? Obviously, it's someone that is interested in two-hearted creatures. Of course, this could point immediately to another two-hearted race itself, the Time Lords, but with them being destroyed by the Master, would Russell T Davies want to bring them back? Especially as he wrote out the Time Lords in his first era, and why would a two-hearted species be after another two-hearted species, unless it has something to do with the division? And I know that Russell T Davies has said several lines about the Timeless Child, but would he really want to dive into the Timeless Child a lot? I don't think so. So that is a big unanswered question. We have heard from Phil Collinson on the commentary track that we will get an answer to the boss. Well, he knows who the boss is, so this is definitely either Series 14 or Series 15 or the Christmas special in between. Well, the Christmas special we'll get this year in between Series 14 and Series 15. So we'll get an answer relatively soon, but for now it is a big mystery. And also, another one is, are Donna and Rose cured of the meta-crisis? Now, of course, the meta-crisis was a big thing back in the first Russell T Davies era, especially in the Stolen Earth and Journey's End, and it basically ended in the Doctor having to wipe Donna's mind so that she could continue living. However, in the Star Beast, that seems to be all thrown away, as Donna and Rose just let go of the meta-crisis. However, if they can just let go of the meta-crisis, why didn't Donna do that back in 2008? Rose's rationale is that a male-presenting Time Lord, which is a terrible line by the way, couldn't ever let the meta-crisis go. However, Donna was always a woman, so she was basically a female Time Lord. why couldn't she let the meta crisis go then? Like, why couldn't she let it go back in 2008 so that they didn't have to go through this at all? So, are they actually cured of the meta crisis, or is there something bigger behind it? It seems to be all over and done with, but that is a pretty big plot hole, in my opinion. And before we move into Wild Blue Yonder, I just want to say, why also did the TARDIS have a coffee machine if it was vulnerable to coffee? I mean, come on, TARDIS, you know what you're doing. You wanted to go on that adventure in Wild Blue Yonder recently. So let's move on to Wild Blue Yonder. Why did the TARDIS in Wild Blue Yonder play the song Wild Blue Yonder? Said Wild Blue Yonder a lot. Anyway, so usually the cloister bells ring to warn the Doctor and the Companion of danger. So why did it play the song Wild Blue Yonder to warn the Doctor and Companion of danger in this episode? Because I think we do hear the cloister bells in Wild Blue Yonder. However, like the Doctor knows the cloister bells is danger. It literally signalled the Doctor's regeneration from 13 to 14 in The Power of the Doctor. So why now does the TARDIS just want to play a war song to warn the Doctor and Companion of danger? But the next question we have to ask is, what were the not things? Now, the not things are basically, we only see them as the 14th Doctor and Donna, and they are an incredible threat because they are persistent, ruthless, and they never give up. However, what were they? Because they didn't come from the outside unless the airlock opened up again and the Doctor just didn't see that. So they came from inside the ship, but the ship came from civilization. However, they wanted to get back to civilization so that they could wreak havoc and chaos on the world. So, where did they come from? And what were they? Because they, of course, weren't the 14th Doctor and Donna. They said that shape was limiting. Is there another thing like the Midnight Entity where we will just never get answers because it is just a lot more creepy if we never get answers? I am fine with that because I think there should be more creepy aliens in Doctor Who. But it's a bit weird that the not things are just so vague. We feel like we have so many things to them with the interactions we get with the not thing Doctor and Donna with the real Doctor and Donna, but we also get nothing about them too because we don't know where they came from and we don't know what they are. However, this is one question I am fine with not being answered. But now we move on to the third and the final special of the 60th anniversaries, The Giggle. And the first question I have to ask is, what is the Vinkx? Now, I am bringing this up because we are apparently supposed to get answers, I think, in Series 14 on who the Vinkx is. So I want to bring this up so someone doesn't say you missed this. Because the Vinkx is actually quite an interesting creation. The Vinkx is a robot that UNIT found in a meteor crash, and it invented the Z-Dex, which is the device that stopped UNIT from going crazy, UNIT officers and personnel from going crazy. So it is a robot which is incredibly inventive and also clever to invent a device that stops people going crazy when the toy maker, who literally could do whatever he wanted, the Vinkx can just stop that. And also, it has an intriguing backstory that UNIT found it in a meteor crash and repurposed it to help them fight aliens. So, what is the Vinkx? But we are going to get answers to that soon. So, I am excited for what they do with the Vinkx. The next question is an intriguing one, and that is, which master was trapped in the toy maker's gold tooth? Now, of course, in the Giggle, we see that the toy maker references actually a few times that the master is in his gold tooth, which he has. And then, of course, it is later seen that someone picks up the gold tooth, which I will get to later. But who is the master which the Toymaker trapped? Who is the one that bargained basically his life with the Toymaker? Now, the most probable answer is probably the Dewan Master, as the Toymaker says that the Master was dying, and the last time we saw the Dewan Master, he was seen dying. However, as we've never seen a Master cross over into different showrunners' periods, because I don't even think the Tremis Master did that, because I think it was John Nathan Turner was the showrunner at that time. So it is a really big deal that if this is the Dewan Master, this is the first time that a Master has crossed over into another showrunner's period. However, I think that Russell T Davies will bring back a newly cast, a new Master, and he says that he doesn't have plans to bring back the Master yet, so we won't get this in Series 14 or the Christmas special we have this year, but we will get answers soon. It has to be, with probably a new Master. And the next question is actually quite similar to the boss question from the Star Beast, and that is, who is the one that waits? And this is a big one, because even the Toymaker that reveals to the Doctor that he wouldn't dare face the one who waits. And that is incredible, because he has no quarries about going up against the Doctor, the Master. He even said that he turned God into a jack-in-the-box. And that is insane, because while there are quite a few gods in Doctor Who, they are always powerful. Like, the Doctor has at least a two-parter story where he has to beat them. So, this is a big one. Who would the Toymaker be scared to face? A future Doctor? I mean, it's probably not a future Doctor, because he wasn't scared to face against two Doctors. He wasn't scared to face off against Ncuti. So why would he be scared of another future Doctor? He's not scared to face off against Time Lords, because he's not scared to face off against the Doctor or the Master. The one who waits is an ominous name, and is definitely an ominous being, because the one that waits even terrifies the Toymaker. Next question is, what is bi-generation? So, bi-generation is basically, that is what the 15th Doctor states happened to them when the 14th Doctor got pulled apart from the 15th Doctor. That is a bi-generation. And also, Russell T Davies states that he believes every Doctor bi-generated, every Doctor went into another universe, at the point of regeneration, a separate universe got created. So, the first Doctor woke up in his TARDIS, second Doctor woke up on Earth, and so on and so on. And I do just want to state, though, with this being created, how many David Tennant Doctors are running around in Doctor Who universes, in the Whoniverse? Because we've got the regeneration from 10 to 10, so that will be, not only we have the 10th Doctor, we have the Meta-Crisis Doctor, and we also have another 10th Doctor, so that's 3 straight up. We have 10 to 11, so that created, according to Russell T Davies, another 10th Doctor, 4, and we have 14 to 15, and of course we've seen the 14th Doctor, so that is 4. That is, that is 5. That is 5 different 14th Doctors, or 5 different David Tennant Doctors. What is going on? Russell, I think you've created a problem. There are too many David Tennants running around. I mean, I'd be happy to have a 5 Doctor story with just David Tennant. That would be funny, but weird. And the next question, which I alluded to earlier, is who picks up the gold tooth that the Master is in after the Toymaker is defeated? So, Exactly like the hand that picked up the Master's ring in the Last of the Time Lords is exactly the same. Down to the nail polish, the type of hand. Like, is it just another group of people who worship the Master? But would Russell do that again? I have to believe it is an incredibly important character. But again, Russell T Davies does like to troll us, so it might just be a normal character that is just devoted to the Master that we have never seen before. However, does this person who picks up the gold tooth actually factor into the next question? Who is the Toymaker's legions? The Toymaker, just before he is defeated, says to the doctors that his legions are coming, and Russell T Davies has kind of insinuated that the goblins might be part of that, but is this person who picks up the Master's ring also part of that? I wouldn't think so, but that would be a huge way to flip the script, that the Master is under control of the Toymaker, even with the Toymaker being defeated. I think that would be quite an incredibly clever and different route to take it on, but I don't know. But one of the biggest questions in the giggle is, of course, does the 14th Doctor regenerate into the 15th Doctor? So the 15th Doctor in the giggle is implied to be an older 15th Doctor, rather than just a newly regenerated Doctor. And he is different from the 14th Doctor. He is happy, and it is stated that in the episode, because the 14th Doctor healed himself living with Donna and her family. So that implies that the 14th Doctor should regenerate into the 15th Doctor. However, it seems like he is just living with them outright. So, does that mean he regenerates into the 15th Doctor or not? And also, the Doctor that we saw in the church on Ruby Road didn't really seem newly regenerated, but he didn't seem like he'd been around a long time as well. So, was that Doctor we saw a newly regenerated Doctor, or a Doctor, or the Doctor from the giggle, or just a completely different 15th Doctor entirely? I mean, no one can make any sense of the Doctor's timeline now, because the 15th Doctor can literally be picked from anywhere in their timeline, and that can be the one that is going through the Church on Ruby Road, Series 14, Series 15, however long the 15th Doctor lasts, and that is just... my mind is just blown. And before we move on to the Church on Ruby Road, I wanted to bring up the biggest question. Why did the 14th Doctor's face come back? Why did David Tennant's face come back? Because it is implied that the 14th Doctor has David Tennant's face because, I mean, he wanted to live a happy life with Donna, but he could have done that with any face. Why did this one specifically have to come back? It seems like it is a massive plot point just to be, like, pushed to the side. Why? That is a plot point that you could milk for series, and yet you just push it to the side. It needs to come back at some point, because that is massive. However, we now move on to the Church on Ruby Road. And the first question is the question that just was asked as soon as the episode opened. Who is Ruby's mum? Who is the cloaked figure that delivers Ruby to the church? Of course, it could be anyone, but it is implied to be Ruby's mother, and she is avidly hunting her down. It is seen in the Church on Ruby Road that Ruby is really hunting for her birth mother. So she has to factor in some way. As I said in when I was just going over my initial thoughts on the Church on Ruby Road, like, you can't just dangle that and then say, oh yeah, Ruby's mum is nothing, because that doesn't turn out well for you, the person creating this, because you dangle something, you don't set it up, people are gonna be mad. And then, of course, probably the biggest question in all of these specials, who is Mrs. Flood? And I actually did a video going over not really who Mrs. Flood is, but why I think there are multiple of her in the church on Ruby Road. And you should check that out. And that is it for this video. All the unanswered questions. Let me know down in the comments below if you think I missed one. What do you think of all these unanswered questions? Are they going to be answered soon? Are they possibly never going to be answered? And also, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, also subscribe, and share it out. And I will see you in the next one.